Hi, this is Shoshana Shia of BeAHappyMom.com, and on my website you're going to see a number of services that I have available. I am a qualified occupational therapist. I also have certification in a few other modalities: bioenergetic healing, brain gym, and in-depth from educational kinesiology. I'm a certified infant massage instructor, and I'm at the process at the moment of doing an NLP course with a view to completing also a coaching course. Actually, I did do an OT coaching course, and now I'm wanting to expand on my skills in order to offer more of a service online to my clients who are online. And in the first section, or second section, I don't remember exactly which one, of the NLP course, the instructor goes through submodalities and concepts or beliefs that we have about our resources, what we could be able to come up with. And he came up with an idea that if you're having a need for anything, you have all the resources you need, and what you don't have, you can create. So I love that idea, and I agree with a lot of it, but we had a bit of a debate about a few details. The one is that time really is a limited commodity. We're all given 24 hours of the day, which breaks down into a certain amount of, there's 60 minutes in every hour, there's 60 seconds in every minute, and it's up to us as to how we're going to be utilizing our time, to whether it's going to be in keeping with working towards our goals, or whether that's going to be some other tasks that we're needing to be fulfilling. And life roles is an important one that I talk about on my website. So time to me is limited. There are certain things one can do to increase and free up one's energy in order to use time more effectively. For example, if you have a past experience where somebody has upset you, and you're carrying that hurt for a long time, so that limits the extent to which you could be utilizing your time effectively, because you're bringing in negative emotions. So there I understand that we could free up how we're using our time. To a certain extent, you can free up certain time availability if you have, for example, you're finding that you're spending a lot of time just playing computer games that are not as necessary and not towards a specific focus and a task. It's perhaps falling into wasting time. And perhaps if you stop playing the computer games, you free up more time to do other things that might work towards another goal, for example, earning more effectively. Now, what happens if you have an illness? As an occupational therapist, I work with people who have various conditions. I like to also do preventing problems. But let's say somebody has a chronic illness, and one of those problems is you have limited energy. So what are you going to do to have more time in the day? If you needing to get up at perhaps 8 in the morning and you're needing to get to bed by 9 or 10, that gives you specific time frame that you could be actively involved in whatever it is you're needing to achieve. How could you be able to free up time if you already have limits to your time, to your energy resources? That's a debate we're going to put on hold for now, and we're going to go to a different debate that I had with my instructor. And he says to me that if you're needing money, you can be able to come up with money, and gave me a task to come up with 100 ways to make money. So I decided, okay, I'm game. I am in need of leveling up my income for a number of reasons. And also I found with a number of clients that I work with that very often clients of mine, especially here in Israel, are needing to level up their income as well. So it's a useful task to do. So I started initially with researching online as to what can one do to be able to make money. And the thing is, I found I can come up with a list. I have a growing list. It's not yet 100, but it's nearly there, of ways that you can spend time and things you can do, how you can keep yourself busy, but does it always lead to making money? Now that's my big question. And I'll share with you a couple of ways as to why it is my big question. Firstly, here in Israel, I've come across an intriguing problem, and that is that you can be in a salaried job, you can be filling your time, you can be providing an outstanding service, and at the end of your month, you could either not get paid or get paid next to nothing. True, I have salary slips to show for it. One of the examples I give often is my first month of working here in Israel, in which I was working in a school 6 days a week, full school days, plus unpaid overtime, whether that was doing reports at home, whether it was attending meetings. And at the end of the month, to my shock and horror, I received 390 shekels for the entire month, which is roughly the equivalent of about $100. Now that's not enough to be able to live on, and I was doing the work, so technically I should be paid for it, but I wasn't. So working in a facility can keep me busy. It can be something constructive. It can be things that I'm using my profession and I'm doing things that are of benefit to others, but it does not necessarily equal that I'll get paid. Proof of that is that in another facility, another two facilities, one of them all of a sudden on a Friday afternoon when I went to the drawer where I was supposed to be able to take out the paycheck, came in envelopes and you had to flip through and find which was the envelope that was appropriate for each different staff member. And on that Friday, to my shock and horror, there was no salary slip for me, no envelope. And after some inquiry, I was informed that I would have to be waiting 2 months before I would get paid. Before getting into any other story, let's go on to another facility in which a group of schools in which I was assigned to be covering the maternity, doing maternity leave cover for an occupational therapist in 2 branches of the schools. And I was asked to also set up a department in a third school, all part of the same group of schools. So I was assigned to 3 of their schools, working 6 days a week. And in this particular school, I hoped that I would be getting paid more per hour, and at the end of that first month, I should be getting enough money to have a breather, and finally I can breathe, I can be able to start to work, to live a little, to start to plan towards, to think clearly, because I had money coming into my account, I can pay my bills and I can start to progress towards certain goals that I had. And at the end of that first month, once again, my shock and horror, once again, this time they said to me, sorry, we can't pay you. Why not? Well, you worked in 3 schools and you can only work in 2. And I said to them, but you gave me the students, you assigned to me which schools I should go to. I didn't come up with the addresses. I didn't even know where the schools were located. I did the work, I provided the service, I set up the department in the one school, I continued working with the students in the other 2 schools in the place of the one therapist that I was covering for her. I did my work. Where was the money? And to my amazement, they were adamant that because I'd worked in 3 schools and not 2, that I was not to be paid. So we're not going to get into the difficulty and the struggle and the fight that I had in order to get paid. The point of this is to say that working in a facility does not equal money. It does equal constructively using my time, and not necessarily completely constructively, because it was of benefit to others, but not to myself, because I was not meeting my financial goal, which was to be paid for the work that I did in order that I could pay my bills and go on towards meeting other financial goals of mine. So now let's have a look at some of the things you can do online. And one of the first tasks that I was recommended to do was transcribing. They said, why not? You're good at typing, you type pretty quickly, you can be able to hear what it is that you just put on your headphones, you listen to the text, the voice You can even do a video that's related to your profession. You're using your skills and you can be able to be paid for that. Fine, sounds okay. The snag comes in that you're paid not per minute or per hour. The quantity of time is not an actual hour or minute or second on the clock, but an audio minute. That means that it's how much time it takes you to hear what it is that's said. And if you have to listen to that 3 times, 4 times, 6 times, 10 times in order to write it down and type it down correctly, that's going to take obviously more time, and you're still only using the 1 audio minute. So how much time you're paid per minute does not equal how much time on the clock. That was a lesson that I learned. Another lesson that I learned was that I went on to, I had already done some freelance writing for Chabad.org, and yes, I was paid for those articles, and I'm very grateful for that, and that went smoothly, and that was wonderful. And then it was time to source some new writing opportunities. And I'd heard about certain websites that give the possibility for you to pitch to be able to have a writing job, and I used 3 of them. I tried out 3 of them, and within the first month or 6 weeks, I was very excited to be assigned my first writing jobs. I went ahead and I put out those articles as quickly as I could, and I was really motivated. I wanted to get that pay because I needed it to pay certain bills. And I wrote my article on the one website, and I wrote my article on the other website, and on both of those websites I did not get paid. So this brings me to a puzzle. What does one do to make money? Really, if you think about it, how much money is there? If you go into the bank and you take a torn banknote, that becomes a problem banknote. There are times that it can be repaired, and people might stick it with some sellotape or something, but certain tears on money can no longer be used. It no longer is within the cycle. Does that mean that that money, that the world is now minus that banknote? No, it doesn't, because we're constantly, there are people whose job it is to be constantly printing or minting paper money or coins. And so money is being made, but what is the process that's involved that we receive the money? In Hebrew, money is connected with the word zaz, zuzim. And zaz means move. Money should be moving. If it comes to us, it shouldn't be just stagnated and sitting. It needs to move on in a certain direction, whether it's to your bank, whether it's to somebody you're doing kindness, you're paying your rent, you're paying your bills, you're paying whatever it is you're needing to be paying. Money needs to move. It needs to be in circulation. So if you have a look at, I'll put a link in the notes below, in the description below, of a video that my husband put together about the wheel, the cycle of the wheel, and we actually are all in a wheel, and wherever you are on that wheel continues to move. So we don't actually know whether the cycle that you're in is going to be continuing through certain reincarnations or through certain time span in your life, or what the time span is that it's going to take for you to get, if you are at the bottom, to get up to the top. And there are certain tasks and certain things that can help to assist you to get to where it is you need to go, or will bring you down if you don't do the things correctly. So those would be things like, if you're being honest in business, if you're tithing, if you're a calm person, a generous person, what your characteristics are, your attributes, and so on. And so Judaism gives a lot of things from the Torah. It's available to non-Jews as well as to Jews, as to things that we can do in order to receive the blessing from God, because money actually, parnasa and income actually comes from God. God is in charge of the whole world. He's in charge of, there actually is an abundance of resources, and there's a certain amount that we have within our control, and there's a certain amount that we have to be patient for God to be able to assist us, or we need to be plugging in certain things that we're doing in order to assist for the blessing to flow. So my question to you, to the viewer, is would you be interested in knowing the list, the growing list that I have, that I'm coming up with, of things that can keep you busy? And I am testing out these ideas that I'm finding online. A number of them are coming off my list because they either are not the kinds of tasks, when I start to look at a website, I'm not happy with, they don't fit with my values, and so they come off the list. There's some other things that come, websites that are coming off my list because a website might be paying a writer 1 cent or less than a cent per word, and as a qualified writer you should be earning at least 20 cents per word. Some people are earning even more depending on what your profession is, what your skills are, what your language skills are. So if you're interested in knowing about the growing list that I have, I can put that together for you as a PDF, or I can share it with you in other videos. I'm interested to know if that's of interest to you. And if you're interested in hearing more about the mindset that's required, the prayer that's required, the working on oneself, and what it is that Judaism teaches about money, business, and being financially independent, then let me know, and I'll be happy to put together a different video or series of videos, or I might hand that over to my husband to do some videos. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are, and if you have some ideas as to how one can come up with money, if you're in a situation where you're needing to pay certain expenses and you don't have money, what is it that you do? I'm interested to hear. You can either send me a note, you can put a comment in the comments below, and do subscribe to this channel. We'll be bringing out some more interesting videos, and I'll be happy to let you know some more about the NLP that I'm doing, moving on to the coaching, and other things that are happening on the BeAHappyMom.com, and of course products coming into my Creations from Jerusalem. That's our online store. And let me know what you're interested in for the next video. It's Shoshana Shia from BeAHappyMom.com, and I'll see you in the next video.